Hey, Crystal Maiden here for part 10 of Minish. So, by fusing kind stones with the mayor, you get the biggest wallet, which only lets you carry 999 rupees. So, Link Between Worlds still has the best wallet. And now we're back to this minigame, and here's where it starts getting really bullshit. This is the worst one of all, because you have to go all the way over here, and it's easy to overshoot the chicken when you're dashing after it. So, it's easy to screw it up, because if you go past the chicken, then it'll start going the other direction, and after that you might as well just give up. You're screwed. So you spent all this time, about half the time that you have left, getting this chicken. And now you have to find the other one. But where's the other one? The chickens are scattered so far away from each other. The only way you can... It's impossible to beat this on the first try. Another gripe that I have with this minigame is that there's no visual indicator of how many cookies you have left to get. Because it would be good if, well, let's say you have to get 5 chickens. Well, it would be good if they had something at the bottom left corner of the screen that said 5, and to the left of the number 5 was how many chickens you had gotten. It's nice that, like, something I do like about this minigame is that it's not like there's exactly 5 chickens and you have to collect exactly 5 of them. There's usually more chickens to collect than you're expected to collect. So you're allowed to miss one. That is very merciful in that sense. It's only the later minigames that start getting really exact. Ugh! You know, I would have won that if it was just a little more lenient with how close you had to be to pick something up. Again, why do you think it was a good 20 rupees? Really? For that minigame, I got 20 rupees. Yeah, that's a great reward. Yeah, this minigame is not very fun. And now you gotta be really careful here, because you gotta stand pretty much as close to the left side of the river as possible when trying to throw it. If you don't do it exactly right, you'll throw the chicken into the water. And cuckoos can't swim like they can in Twilight Princess. If you throw a chicken into the water in this game, it drowns. And then you have to go back inside the building, reach with the minigame, and start all over again. That's horrible design. Hopefully I won this time. It took that long to get a single piece of heart. The piece of hearts aren't really that valuable in this game because, well, in a Zelda game, because you're probably going to win without them. Because they give you so many heart containers as it is. I don't think I ever die once in this game. So I might as well just mention it now because I'll never get to show it off. The game over music is from the opening demo music in A Link to the Past. Oh yeah, and that bomb upgrade. In the European version of the game, thanks to a glitch, that bomb bag never appears. So it's completely impossible to get 99 bombs in the European version of the game. And again, this makes sense because the European version was released first, so it wasn't until later that they were able to iron out most of the bugs. So they really got cheated when it comes to this game. It's still a good game in Europe, but it's more glitchy, and the 3DS eShop re-release, gotten by buying the original 3DS early on when it was struggling with sales, it did not fix this glitch at all. None of the glitches in the European version were fixed for the 3DS re-release. That's just so lazy. You'd think that they would do that. You'd think they would have heard all of the complaints. Normally, the planter of a gigantic beanstalk is a regular-looking Minish. So it can be kind of unintuitive that fusing kind stones with the blacksmith will create this. And again, why can't you just play the flute and warp out from on top of the clouds? Because it's so inconsistent, it makes no sense. I didn't show off this part yet, or maybe I did. Yes, I know. I think we've known that since A Link to the Past. Oh, god damn it. I hate it when that happens. There's always that one kind stone piece. So now we're digging through the underground area again. And we got another piece of heart we can collect. Something I haven't mentioned yet about the first dungeon of the game is that there's actually a glitch that can happen where the lily pad necessary to beat it doesn't show up. Like, I vividly remember playing the first dungeon of the game and the lily pad didn't show up and I got stuck. Like, Islo even talked about not knowing how to progress as if the lily pad was there, but it wasn't. And I don't understand. I don't think I would remember that if it didn't happen. So normally, when you see a cutscene after fusing kind stones, you don't see any NPCs around other than the ones that the kind stone fusion is helping, provided the kind stone fusion helps someone. So I don't understand why that is. Like, why do they unload the non-vital NPCs during a kind stone fusion cutscene? I mean, it's not like the game can't handle it. I guess because when you fuse kind stones and it helps someone, then they talk to themselves to tell the audience what their idea is to make their lives better or whatever. And so it'd be kind of weird seeing them talk to themselves right in front of another NPC, and either the NPC ignores them or thinks they're weird. Lots of people talk to themselves, though. It's kind of like thinking out loud. It's not really about thinking there's someone there when there isn't. One of the most infamous glitches in Minish Cap as a whole is the Stubborn Eenie glitch. Basically what happens is that if you try to fuse kind stones with Eenie and you don't have the kind stone necessary to fuse with him, so you quit and leave the screen, he will never ask to fuse kind stones with you again. And so it'll be impossible to get the reward from Biggoron's dungeon. A lot of people, like, this is a very infamous glitch in the European version. And the only workaround for it is to make sure you have both varieties of blue kind stones when fusing kind stones with that farmer. Although, at least it has a workaround. And it's not very likely that you'll encounter the glitch because they throw so many blue kind stones at you that you pretty much have to be trying to not have both of them at this point. Red kind stones are a lot more commonly thrown at you, but talking to the Gorons can cause them to stop for a while and then restart, so they hit the wall at different times from each other. This is so lazy. They don't even give him a proper name. They just call him Postman. He moves around super fast, and he's completely obsessed with his job. I think he's sort of based off the running guy from, or the running man from Ocarina of Time. He looks nothing like him though. Why do Gorons always say Goro at the end of their sentences? The plot of this game has it that all of the monsters were trapped in a chest and Beatty released them by accident. But this is the only Zelda game where it starts out with all the monsters trapped in a chest. If it's possible to trap monsters in a chest, all of them, why doesn't this happen more often? Paying 200 rupees with that lady will constantly unlock you hint books. They're written by Swiftblade, and they're not just about sword fighting, because that would be kind of limited. They're about all sorts of different things. And sometimes they can actually give you new information. I hate this dungeon. Ice floors are really annoying. Although I like the visual effect where you had the flower frozen underneath the ice. There's all sorts of jars that will fly at you. That sunlight just looks like it feels warm. Like, the graphics in this game are really good. You can really feel the warmth from that sunlight just from looking at it. So this dungeon has some creative puzzles as well. Or one, anyways. Basically, you push ice blocks into sunlight, and it melts them. And you need to do this to get keys. Ugh! Why does it have to be so precise? Why do I have to be in the exact center of the block in order to push it? I don't think you can block those energy balls with your shield. And I like the visual effect where you can very clearly see a sort of imitation of the lower floor that you fall into right before you fall into it. Because in Link to the Past, you could very clearly tell which bottomless pits were bottomless pits and which ones you would fall into in order to get to a lower floor. But there were only two different ways that pits could look. In this game, you can usually see a sort of approximation of the lower floor before you fall into it. This puzzle is pretty tricky. You gotta have that block there so that the big key doesn't go too far down and you can't push it upwards anymore. Why can't you just dash into it with the Pegasus boots and break it that way? So now you've got to push that lever, because otherwise, when you go up the stairs, you won't be able to get across from there. I mean, you could get across from there by saving and quitting and returning to the entrance to the dungeon, but that would take a while. I like how there is a whole bunch of hearts there. Although it can be easy to lose those hearts because you get hit. Like by the flying jars and stuff. It's a good thing that there's only a straight path to the map, because you can't actually see the path you're supposed to take underneath the floor. So it's a good thing they don't make you wander aimlessly through a maze to get there. Maps are pretty pointless to me though, because I've already memorized all of the dungeons. I don't remember ever getting lost in this game. Like, ever. And I played this game for a very long time. This is one of the few Zelda games where I can actually sort of remember when I first played the game, it felt so mysterious to me. Like, there are plenty of, like, Link to the Past and, oh yeah, this game makes a lot more use of the dive mechanic. Why does it take so long to climb up that wall? Why do you have to do that? Why can't you just go up a staircase? But anyways, the only time you really made use of the dive mechanic in the GBA games up to this point was in Link to the Past, Palace of the Four Swords. But here, it's at least twice as useful, because you also get a heart piece by diving. And the lily pad gimmick returns. and you're going to be using it a lot more. You have to be so precise with it too. It hangs on corners and stuff. But yeah, this is one of the few Zelda games that I sort of remember it having a serious feel to it because I hadn't beaten it yet. Like, I would constantly start a new file and play all the way up to Mount Krenel for stopping because I got stuck or something. Or I would play all the way up to the part just before you're let into Lake Hylia. Or I would play all the way up to, yeah, the Caster Wilds dungeon, the Fortress of the Winds. There's plenty of glitches for Link's Awakening that I hadn't gotten to mention in that LP. One of them is, if you go fishing with at least 15 rupees, catch the small fish closest to you to get all the way, and then catch the fish closest to the bank, the fisherman will tell you he's giving you 20 rupees, but you'll get 32 rupees instead. If I did encounter that glitch, I probably didn't notice because I wasn't paying attention to the amount of rupees I had. And I'm not that good with math anyways, so I probably didn't notice it. And yeah, you have to fight this boss again with the ice floor. And it's pretty cramped too. Now, like I said, it's a good measure of power that you get a mini boss. Yeah, I cut the footage too early, so I couldn't show you me actually getting the compass, but yeah, that's the compass. It's a good measure of power that a mini boss from a previous dungeon returns as a mini boss. And what's the point of having a lily pad path over to the right if you can't actually take advantage of it? That feels like it just wastes your time. Ugh, I did not mean to go that way. You keep mashing the item button and you'll keep on using it. And here we come to the worst puzzle in the entire game. This gave me so much trouble as a kid. I think there's a glitch you can do where you can skip it, but I can't really get that to work. It's actually possible to soft lock the game here. Get the lily pad to the south side of the northwestern ice floor. Have it on the south shore of the ice floor and right next to the wall to the west. If a pesto knocks you into the water on the left side of the wall that the lily pad is not touching, you'll be trapped there. You won't even be able to climb back onto the lily pad from there, so you'll be stuck and have to save and quit. I think there's a way to rush back onto the lily pad after hitting the switch so that you skip it, but I can't really do that. So you gotta push these two blocks so that they prevent a block from going too far to the left. Then you gotta push that block upwards so that this block won't go too far to the left, and then you just push that up. I made it look pretty simple, but it gave me so much trouble as a kid. I would write down the answer to the puzzle constantly, and then I'd always lose the answer, and then I had to figure it out on my own again. I hate ice block puzzles. Ice block puzzles are some of my least favorite puzzles ever. I guess the song for this dungeon is alright. It's very appropriate to an ice dungeon. Like, in general, the music for this game's dungeons is really good. It's very suited to the settings that they're in. These things are annoying because you attack the blue parts of them and they don't get damaged. But just stun them by hitting them from the side or back with a boomerang. Although they can turn around instantly in any direction, so it's not always easy to stun them. But yeah, the music for this game's dungeons is nothing fantastic most of the time, but it's still very suited to the dungeon. In Link's Awakening, the music was all chiptunes. So even though you had dungeons with really good songs to them, they didn't necessarily match the actual theme of the dungeon. Like, you went to a lava dungeon in Link's Awakening, and the music didn't really sound like a lava dungeon. See you in the next part.